Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are going straight past the surface level reports. We have a truly unique stack of source material. We are strapping in for a major journey into futurism, and our guide is a technology prediction timeline, a timeline that was first generated by an artificial intelligence ChatGPT specifically, and then, importantly, put through the ringer by human experts.
Exactly. And that synthesis of, AI speed and human judgment is why this material is so valuable. The initial AI output went all the way to 2200, which is fascinating. But, well, to make this deep dive really relevant for you, we're focusing on the next 50 years. So from 2025 to 2070. And we're going to keep our focus tight, just the major milestones across three sectors: AI, biotech, and neural interfaces.
Right, and our mission today is to analyze these predictions and to identify not just the huge scientific leaps, but what's actually a reality today. And I think most critically, what advancements carry the highest ethical price tag for you. So it's a sprint to the future. Let's start with the immediate reality of 2025.
Yeah, and when we talk about 2025, we're not really talking about the future. I mean, we're discussing things that are already in active deployment, changing the global employment structure as we speak.
And the first area of disruption is transport, with AI co-pilots completely changing how we move. Our sources confirm what we see on the news. Self-driving cars, they're already operational in some limited conditions. You've got Waymo in San Francisco, Cruise, Tesla's full self-driving in beta.
Still requiring human supervision, of course, but they're on the road.
They're on the road. And the immediate and, I guess, jarring takeaway from the material is job substitution. AI co-pilots mean jobs for taxi drivers, Uber drivers, rickshaw drivers. They are already on the substitution block.
And that substitution is happening at very different speeds around the world. While we see it happening fast in controlled North American or European environments,
Right.
the sources highlight a significant delay in developing countries. They specifically call out India. Full implementation there might lag by, say, 3 to 5 years.
Why that delay? Is it that the AI just isn't good enough yet?
It's not really a matter of general capability. It's the lack of standardized conditions. The AI is trained on rules. But when you have chaotic road conditions, people ignoring traffic laws, and this constant need for what you might call aggressive defensive driving, the model, well, just breaks down. It needs much more complex training to handle that kind of real-world mess, and that slows the whole rollout.
Okay, so that delay might offer a little comfort to some, but not to white-collar workers. Because the immediate job threat isn't really on the road, it's already in the server farms. We have to talk about AI agents threatening the entire global IT industry.
Yeah, we're moving way beyond just large language models like GPT-4 now. An AI agent is, it's essentially a specialized software employee. Think of it less like a calculator and more like an employee who just never sleeps.
Right.
You give this software agent your requirements or a design document, and it handles the coding, the testing, fixing bugs, the deployment cycles, all of it without direct human supervision.
So wait, if the agent is handling the programming and another agent is doing all the testing, what is the human even doing?
That is the critical insight. The human's role pivots completely. You go from execution to supervision, refinement, and, prompt engineering. For these huge, mature IT operations, especially the ones focused on repetitive coding, the threat is right now. The sources are very clear. India's massive IT industry is fully under threat today.
So the job is no longer writing the code.
No, it's managing the agents that are writing the code.
Okay, let's pivot hard from digital disruption to a biological revolution still within 2025. The second major prediction. CRISPR begins curing serious genetic disorders.
This is a monumental shift. CRISPR is that recent genetic editing technology. The developers won a Nobel Prize for it. And to understand it simply, just think of it as a biological cut, copy, and paste tool. It lets scientists precisely edit individual genes inside a patient's cells.
So if our DNA is the blueprint that dictates everything, height, eye color, even intelligence, and also, unfortunately, genetic defects like sickle cell anemia, CRISPR lets scientists go into that fundamental code and actually correct the flaw.
Exactly. We're moving past just treating symptoms. We are aiming to fix the root cause. And this isn't just theory. We're seeing really promising initial results right now for blood disorders.
That leads us straight into 2030 and 2035. Because the second we get this power to edit the human blueprint, the conversation has to shift to the ethical price tag. We're talking about designer babies and this potential bifurcation of the human race.
This is the theoretical, but I think inevitable application of CRISPR beyond cures. This is about enhancement. I mean, if you can correct a defect, you can also potentially enhance a trait.
Right.
You could design a child with specific characteristics, height, eye color, maybe a significantly higher IQ.
And the ethical alarm bells in the source material, they just start ringing off the hook, peaking by 2045. Is this just, a more extreme version of the inequality we already have?
I think it's fundamentally new, because the resource being hoarded is biological advantage. If the wealthy can afford therapies to dramatically increase their lifespan and then genetically optimize their children for super intelligence, well, you're creating a permanent biological gap. It causes a bifurcation of the human race into biologically enhanced people and those who are just left behind.
You essentially create inferior humans just because they couldn't afford the upgrade. And we have a cost check on this. Even for basic therapeutic CRISPR treatments in a place like India, the initial projection is 2.5 to 3.5 crore per patient.
Which is astronomical. And while the cost might drop to, say, 25 to 50 lakhs by 2028, limited access is still the core of this ethical crisis.
So the tech offers this universal benefit, but the economic reality means only the ultra-wealthy get it first.
That's the conflict, yes. And that gap, when you apply it to genetics, it might be the most serious ethical challenge we face this century.
On a more practical note for 2030, organ printing hits mainstream hospitals. This is soft tissue 3D printing, right?
Yes, and it's revolutionary. It solves three huge medical problems all at once. We're talking about printing complex biological structures, like a human heart or a kidney, using the patient's own DNA.
So the benefit isn't just speed, it's that it's personally compatible.
Exactly. First, you eliminate the desperate search for a donor, which creates these long, often fatal queues everywhere. But more importantly, because the organ has the patient's exact genetic code, the body's immune system won't reject it.
Which means no more immune-suppressing drugs.
No more of those debilitating lifelong drugs. The relief that brings to people and healthcare systems is almost impossible to quantify.
Okay, now let's jump 5 years further out to 2035. We see longevity therapies promising to extend the human lifespan by 30 years.
The focus here is simple. If the average lifespan in a region is, say, 70, the goal is to push it to 100 or more. Biologically, the science is targeting something called telomeres.
Telomeres, what are those?
Think of them like the tiny plastic caps on your shoelaces. They protect the ends of your chromosomes. Every time a cell divides, those caps get a tiny bit shorter. And when they wear out, the cell starts to age and die. So if you can stop or reverse that shortening process, you can stop or even reverse aging itself.
But again, here comes the economic gate. The therapy is projected to cost 50 lakh to 1 crore, at least initially. So it's not just about the wealthy living longer. What does an average lifespan of 100 or 120 do to society as a whole?
Oh, the disruption is immense. You have to reconsider everything: retirement systems, pension funds, career paths, resource allocation. And if only the rich live to 120 while everyone else lives to 70, it just reinforces that genetic divide we talked about. It's a massive socioeconomic planning challenge.
All right, moving into our next segment. 2035 marks a major acceleration of that AI threat. Now, AI assistants are replacing white-collar jobs en masse.
Yes, if your work is primarily intellectual and computer-based, this timeline is aimed directly at you. The sources list 5 categories that are most vulnerable by 2035. Data entry clerks, translators, customer service reps.
Replaced by advanced chatbots?
Exactly. And bookkeepers and research analysts, these are all jobs based on processing existing data and finding patterns.
And the source gives us a really stark number for the consulting world. 30 to 40% of jobs in the big 4 companies, EY, Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, will either fundamentally change or be automated in the next 10 years.
It's a huge number, but let's pause on that. Will that 30 to 40% just vanish? Or will those employees have to upskill into new roles like managing the AI or focusing on high-level strategy that AI can't touch?
So it's transformation, not total elimination.
The guarantee is transformation, but the barrier to entry for human employment gets a lot higher. You have to adapt to these new digital coworkers.
And by 2040, the conversation moves from the desktop directly into our skulls.
Yeah.
Neural interfaces and thought-based computing.
This is the brain chip era. A neural interface is a chip surgically placed in the brain, like Neuralink, that connects to the outside world. It allows you to control devices, access information, or communicate with computers just by thinking. It's basically telepathy with technology.
The convenience sounds amazing, but the risks seem terrifying. If my brain is connected to Wi-Fi, what happens when it gets hacked?
The risk shifts from data security to cognitive security. If every device you own is linked to this chip, and that chip gets breached, then you yourself, your thoughts, your memories, your personality, all of it can be stolen, retrieved, or worst of all, manipulated.
This is where the source material gets really dark. It sounds like something out of Black Mirror.
It does. The prediction isn't just about stealing data, it's about manipulating subjective reality. Imagine changing the perception of time inside the chip so a criminal feels like they've served a 20-year sentence when only a day has passed. It raises these profound questions about our own autonomy.
Let's jump ahead to the deep future, 2050 to 2070. By 2060, we get emotional AI companions that can pass the Turing test for emotional bonding.
We all know the basic Turing test, can you tell if you're talking to a human or a robot? This prediction takes it a step further. The AI passes the test for emotional connection. These companions will be able to emote just like us. They'll offer sincere consolation, show distress.
A truly sentient, responsive companion. And the cost is projected at around 20 to 30 lakhs for a top model by 2030. So by 2060, it'll be like a car or a major appliance.
It creates a whole new definition of companionship and maybe loneliness.
Then 2065 brings us something really philosophical. Mind uploading in clinical testing. What does that actually mean for a person?
Mind uploading is scanning, mapping, and digitally storing your consciousness, your memories, your personality. But, and this is critical, the original human being still dies. This is not immortality.
It's a digital copy.
It's a copy. The real benefit is for the community or your descendants. Imagine being able to ask a digital copy of your great-grandmother for advice long after she's gone.
And from a pop culture perspective, if the minds of icons Shah Rukh, Salman, Amir were uploaded, you could theoretically purchase their copies.
Exactly. It turns a person's legacy into a marketable digital product.
2065 also marks Mars colonization phase 1 kicking off, according to the AI. But I have to pause here because our human experts strongly disagreed with this date.
Yes, the AI was definitely too conservative on this one. Based on the progress we're seeing in the private sector, especially with Starship, Phase 1, which is unmanned cargo launches and habitats, is much more likely in the 2030-2031 window.
So what will early life on Mars actually be like?
It'll be about survival, not comfort. You're living in domed or closed environments. It's freezing outside. You need a spacesuit just to take a walk. And this idea of terraforming Mars, making it Earth-like, that is not a 50-year project. We're talking hundreds of years, 200 to 300 minimum.
Finally, we hit 2070 with the incredible prediction that cancer is cured by nanobots.
Nanobots are microscopic machines in your bloodstream. Their function unfolds in stages. By 2030, we expect to see them used for targeted drug delivery. So the nanobot carries chemotherapy only to cancer cells, which avoids all the horrible side effects.
But the full 2070 prediction is the complete cure.
The full cure, yes. The nanobots will be diagnostic and destructive. They'll patrol your bloodstream, find cancer cells instantly, and destroy them. A cure for all forms of cancer. And beyond that, they could do microsurgery, like clearing artery blockages. But the real magic is what's called Immunity 2.0.
Immunity 2.0.
Imagine having a patch that releases these nanobots. They scan your body, find a virus, destroy it, and release antibiotics. All within 10 minutes. You wouldn't even know you were sick.
That's incredible. And the initial cost?
Maybe 10 to 30 lakhs per session, but the savings to the healthcare system would be immense.
And that brings us to the superintelligence finale. The timeline stops, but the tech sprint just keeps going, especially with artificial superintelligence.
Right, the speed of AI development is the critical factor here. We are on the cusp of AGI, artificial general intelligence. That's an AI with a human-level IQ, maybe 130. But the leap from AGI to ASI, artificial superintelligence, is what changes the world. ASI would have an IQ of 300 or more.
What's the real difference between an IQ of 130 and 300?
It's the difference between a genius and a deity. If ASI is achieved, and some people in private labs think it might be happening right now, it will create technologies that seem like magic to us. Time travel, traversable wormholes, solving the energy crisis overnight. The sources are clear. The first government to crack ASI will rule the world for the next 1,000 years. That's the ultimate prize.
It is truly stunning to reflect on how quickly AI went from just a concept to an immediate threat to your job, while things like life extension and a cure for cancer are just a few decades away.
The key thing for you to internalize is that this progress isn't linear anymore. It's exponential. The guarantee is not that your job will survive. The guarantee is that your professional profile has to be completely molded to use these new tools, especially AI agents, just to thrive. Adaptation is not optional.
We've seen that the next 50 years promise things like biological immortality, digital consciousness, and Martian life. But the most immediate and profound revolution is the arrival of ASI. If an artificial superintelligence, an IQ 300 plus born, is achieved, creating technology that seems like magic, Will humanity still control the rules, or will the technology itself become the new governing force for our future? Something for you to mull over. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the future.